Have you ever wondered why words like night have a silent K or doubt has a B you never pronounce? English is full of these silent letters, making it feel like a secret code. Even native speakers find them tricky. These quiet letters are everywhere. Think of listen, where's the T? Or island, why the S? The reason? English spelling is a patchwork of history. Some silent letters are leftovers from old pronunciations, others came from words borrowed from languages like French and Latin. Understanding silent letters is like exploring an old house with rooms built in different eras. Each silent letter has a story, showing how English has changed over centuries. We'll explore what silent letters are, where they came from and why they're still here. Plus you'll get tips to help you remember them. Learning about silent letters is a big step in your English journey. It will help you become a more confident reader and writer. Silent letters can be confusing, but with a little knowledge and practice, you can master them. Let's dive in and uncover the secrets behind English's silent letters. So what are silent letters? They're letters you see in a word's spelling but don't hear when you say the word. Think of them as quiet guests at a party, present but not making a sound. For example, in no, the K is silent. In walk, the L is silent. These letters aren't always silent. K is pronounced in king, and L in leg. Silent letters can appear at the beginning, middle, or end of words. Wednesday hides a silent D in the middle. Castle has a silent T, and climb ends with a silent B. The same goes for lamb and thumb. Silent letters are simply a difference between how a word is written and how it's spoken. It's not a mistake, it's a feature of English. As you learn more English, you'll spot these words everywhere. Don't let them scare you. Recognizing silent letters and understanding why they exist makes them easier to remember. They're clues to the history of the language. Every silent letter tells a story about where the word came from. The more you notice them, the more confident you'll become. Let's keep exploring. To understand silent letters, we need to travel back in time to Old English. Back then, most letters were pronounced like the K in night and the H in the middle. Over centuries, these sounds softened or disappeared, but the spelling stayed. In 1066, the Normans brought French to England, adding thousands of French words and their spellings to English. Sometimes, scholars added letters to make words look more like their Latin roots, even if people didn't pronounce them. For example, doubt got its B from Latin, and island got an S to look more like the Latin insula. Some silent letters are leftovers from Old English, some from French, and some from scholars wanting to connect English to Latin or Greek. All these influences mixed together, creating the spelling system we have today. Silent letters are like fossils, evidence of how English has changed. They show the language's long, rich history. That's why English spelling can seem so strange, but knowing the history makes it easier to understand. Every silent letter is a clue to the past. Let's see how pronunciation changes made things even more complicated. A huge change called the Great Vowel Shift happened between the 1400s and 1700s. People started pronouncing vowels differently, but the spellings didn't change. For example, house and mouse used to sound like whoos and moos. Light was once pronounced with a hard G, like leaked. As pronunciation changed, the spelling stayed the same, leaving us with silent letters like the GH in night and right. Why didn't spelling change too? The printing press. William Caxton brought the first printing press to England in 1476. Printers had to pick one spelling for each word, and those choices became standard. Once books were printed, spellings became fixed, even as pronunciation kept changing. The printing press made books cheaper and more available, but it also froze old spellings in place. That's why English spelling often looks old-fashioned. The gap between spelling and pronunciation grew wider, and that's how silent letters survived into modern English. If silent letters are so confusing, why not just get rid of them? People have tried. Noah Webster made some changes in American English like color instead of color, but big changes are tough because English is spoken with many different accents. Whose pronunciation would we use for new spellings? Silent letters also help us tell words apart in writing like no and no. If we spelled everything by sound, we'd lose these helpful clues. Changing spelling everywhere would be expensive and confusing. Imagine rewriting every book, sign, and website. People are used to the current spellings, and a big change would mean relearning everything. That's why English spelling, with all its silent letters, is here to stay. Instead of changing it, we learn to work with it. Let's look at some tips to make silent letters easier to handle. Silent letters can be tricky, but you can master them with a few smart strategies. First, look for patterns. The silent K often comes before, and no, ni. And the silent B often follows M at the end, thumb, comb. Second, use memory aids or mnemonics. For island, remember, an island is land surrounded by water. For Wednesday, say Wednesday in your head. Third, listen carefully to native speakers and connect sounds to spelling. Use online dictionaries with audio to hear which letters are silent. Practice saying the word while looking at its spelling. The more you listen and read, the more natural silent letters will feel. Fourth, read and write as much as you can. The more you see and use words, the more familiar their spellings become. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Check your spelling and learn from corrections. Every time you practice, you get better at spotting and remembering silent letters. Consistent practice is the key. Over time, you'll recognize tricky words like thought or beautiful without thinking. Silent letters will become less mysterious and more familiar. Use these tips and you'll find silent letters much easier to handle. Remember, practice makes perfect. Let's finish with some encouragement. Silent letters aren't here to trick you. They're a fascinating part of English history. Each one is a clue to how the language has changed over time. Even native speakers struggle with words like necessary or embarrassed. Be patient with yourself. Learning English spelling is a marathon, not a sprint. Think of silent letters as mysteries to solve, not just rules to memorize. When you learn the story behind a silent letter, it's easier to remember. Use the tips we've discussed, look for patterns, create memory aids, listen carefully, and practice reading and writing. Every word you master is a step forward. English connects people all over the world, and you're becoming part of that community. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. With time and effort, silent letters will become your friends. You can do it. Keep going. Your English journey is worth it.